I am the last of a breed.
Laramie Sasquatch Miller is the last of the mountain men. He's traveled the world hunting the way the old-timers did, on his own terms and up close and personal with the animals he's pursuing. Today, he's headed south from his home state of Montana to the swamps and rivers of Florida. Laramie is not the first mountain man to find himself floating on the St. Johns River in Florida. John and William Bartram found themselves surveying the area and detailing the terrain in journals that document their explorations. The city of Palatka isn't even 100 miles from Orlando, but the remoteness of the area has a backcountry feel to it.
The history of this area is pretty amazing. Believe it or not, 200 years ago, William Bartram and his party, which he was actually a mountain man that spent most of his time in the fur trade, they actually navigated through this area. And to think of that 200 years ago with all the bugs and gators and everything else, and there's not hardly a place you can walk, but where there's a will, there's a way.
Today, Laramie finds himself in search of the monster gators of the back swamps and lakes this area has to offer. He's also hoping to break out the recurve and do some bow fishing as well.
So we're getting ready to go out bow fishing, and there's gar in here, carp, catfish, mudfish, quite a few different fish that we're going to go after. I haven't done a whole lot of bow fishing, and this is going to be new and interesting for me. At the end of the day, I'm all about the experience. If I go a place I want the full experience, you look around. This is the full Florida experience. So this is not one of my proudest moments. I had quite a few opportunities. I shot a lot of arrows, but it's a completely different feel from shooting at something in the water, because you can't aim straight at it. You have to aim below it. You know, that was a hard lesson for me to learn. But eventually, even a blind dog finds a bone. I finally got my target point on and started actually hitting a couple fish.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's a good one too, buddy.
There you go. I've only shot about 20 times, but hey.
Practice makes perfect.
That's
right?
what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
While the bow fishing proved to be pretty tough, Laramie was able to get a feel for the area and at the same time land a few fish. Now that he's getting settled in, he's ready to tackle some bigger game. The gators that call these waters home. And it's sure to be an exciting battle. Laramie Sasquatch Miller is deep in the backcountry of Florida with the guys from God's Country Outfitters, finding out just what this area is all about. After a morning on the river with his recurve, Laramie was able to get dialed in and finally landed a few fish. The next target on his list? Gators.
Bow fishing was a lot more challenging than I thought it would be. I missed a lot, not afraid to say that. But now it's time to go after the real reason I'm in Florida. Go see if I can't find me a big old gator.
Laramie's had his hands on quite a few critters during his time in the field. But not only has he not killed a gator before, he's never even seen one in the wild.
When you think of Florida, you think alligators. At least I do. And I want to get this whole experience. I want to go into the backcountry of Florida. I want to go into these swamplands, go see where these gators live, how they react. I know absolutely nothing about hunting alligators. I'm not afraid to admit that. But I've got a couple of buddies, RT and Charles from God's Country Outfitters with me, that They're gonna show me the ropes and we're gonna go see if we can't get lucky.
So the object here is they get them out from the shoreline so they're not in the weeds, and then you throw a line over them and you try to hook them. And the fight's on. They say it might work.
We were having a hard time trying to locate these alligators, and RT pipes up and he says, well, let's try to call them. I'm thinking to myself, I've called bears, I've called mountain lions, I've called coyotes and wolves. Never called an alligator. So they turned the call on, and I'd be dang if this gator just doesn't come swimming right out of the brush, just like he was on cue. Then he saw us and swam off. He was just a little guy, but it was amazing to me how they react. I love to call predators, and that was just another predator.
After spotting a few small gators and not having any luck, the guys decide to check a few baits that they had set out on one specific lake where they had heard rumors of a monster gator. As they approach the bait, they can tell they've got something on the line, but aren't quite sure what it is. That is, until they start to try and pull it up.
So I had no clue how much actually goes into catching gators, especially this way when you're trying to bait them. And you watch swamp people and you think you just pull them up, boom. No. I mean, you got ropes everywhere, you got big hooks, you got bang sticks, you got a lot of ways to trip and fall in and then having to wrestle an alligator for your life. Yeah, it was different.
Where we want to hit this gator, his head's so hard, this bullet will mushroom if you hit him in the head. So there's a line, a sharp line that looks like a half smile on top of his head. And what that is, right behind that, you just right down the middle of his vertebrae. Just right behind that a couple inches, you just, this is like a bang stick, and it just, there's a firing pin in it, and it's spring loaded, and when it goes down, it's done deal.
Give her heck.
Let's do it. That's money, baby. Oh, yeah, baby.
That's awesome. I just added a first to my life.
Man, I feel privileged for you to be a first down here with us, man.
That's awesome.
There you go.
Oh yeah.
This is one of the coolest experiences I've ever experienced in my life. Just the fact of pulling that gator up, seeing him open his mouth, the sheer size and weight and just the prehistoric animal that just came to the surface was something I will never forget the rest of my life.
Look at that thing.
That's a dinosaur right there, brother.
It is a dinosaur.
Man, feel how hard they are there and how soft they are on the sides. That's so freaking awesome.
With a monster gator on the boat, Laramie takes a minute to reflect on the experience and to reflect on what it must have been like for guys like John and William Bartram to be on these waters 200 years ago with these same animals.
I had no clue how many pigs were actually in Florida. I've hunted quite a few different states for pigs. There are a ton of pigs in Florida.